Before I tell you this story, I want you to picture something. You're 16 years old. You're lying on a hospital bed after a brutal car crash. Doctors are rushing around you, alarms are going off, and someone says the words nobody ever wants to hear. You have less than an hour. The hospital calls your mother, the one person who's supposed to protect you, and instead of rushing to you, she says something so cold that the entire trauma room goes silent. If she doesn't make it, just call me later. No panic, no questions, no "is my daughter okay?" Just that. What happened after that moment changed my life forever. My name is Serenity Carver. I'm 21 now. But this story began 5 years ago on Easter weekend. When I was 16 years old and driving home from a family cookout just outside Charleston, South Carolina. To understand what happened that night, you need to know what my life looked like before the crash. I grew up on James Island in a big white house that looked like something out of a magazine. Palm trees in the yard, a long driveway, and a porch big enough to host half the neighborhood. From the outside, people probably thought my life was perfect. But the truth is, that house stopped feeling like home when I was 6 years old. That's the year my dad died. Leukemia. One week he was teaching me how to ride a bike in the driveway, running behind me, laughing every time I wobbled. The next week he was gone. After the funeral, everything in our house changed. My mom, Harmony Carver, spent about a year grieving. And then she met someone new. His name was Colin Reed. He was wealthy, confident, and owned several construction companies building luxury homes across the coast. 2 years later, they got married in a beachfront ceremony with white chairs in the sand and photographers everywhere. 9 months after that, my half-sister Haven was born, and that's when I started disappearing. The nursery took over half the house. A nanny moved in. My bedroom got moved to the small room above the garage so Haven could have the larger one with the balcony. My soccer trophies vanished into storage boxes. And slowly, I stopped being part of the family picture. My mom stopped introducing me by name. She would say things like, "This is my older daughter." Like I was just background noise in someone else's life. By the time I turned 14, I had become practically invisible in my own home. Colin paid for everything, but he barely acknowledged me unless I was standing in the way. Haven got new clothes every season. I got leftovers. The only place I ever felt wanted was 20 minutes away. My grandfather's house. Clarence Brooks. Most people around Charleston knew him as the former police chief. But to me, he was just Grandpa. Every weekend he'd pull up in his old Ford pickup truck, honk twice, and tell me to grab my fishing rod. He brought shrimp and grits from his favorite spot on Shem Creek and told stories about chasing criminals down back roads when he was a cop. At his house, I wasn't invisible. I was his granddaughter, and that meant everything. When I was 16, Easter weekend rolled around. Grandpa hosted his famous cookout every year, 3 long tables under huge live oak trees. Kids running around, music playing, the smell of charcoal and seafood floating through the air. For a few hours that day, life actually felt normal. Grandpa had even bought me a pale yellow sundress the month before. He said it matched my eyes. I remember thinking, maybe things were getting better. Then I overheard my mom talking on the phone near the dessert table. She was laughing and telling someone about a spa day she had planned for the next morning. Facials, massages, the full luxury package, just her and Haven. And after that, they were flying to the Bahamas for spring break. Just the 3 of them, her, Colin, and Haven. My name came up for half a second. She said something that hit me harder than I expected. "Oh, Serenity, she'll figure something out." That was it, just 4 words. I stood there holding a plate of banana pudding, staring at it while the spoon trembled in my hand. For a moment, it felt like the ground shifted under my feet. I told Grandpa I had a headache and needed to head home early. He studied my face for a moment like he knew something was wrong. But instead of asking questions, he simply handed me the keys to the Jeep he helped me buy with my lifeguard savings. "Drive safe, baby girl," he said. "Text me when you get home." I promised I would. But I never made it home. About 20 minutes later, I was driving along Interstate 26 when a spring storm rolled in without warning. The sky turned dark green. Rain started falling so hard it looked like sheets of glass hitting the windshield. My wipers were moving as fast as they could, but I could barely see the road. Traffic slowed to a crawl. Headlights blurred into streaks of red and white. Then suddenly, everything happened at once. A tractor-trailer ahead of me hit standing water. The truck hydroplaned. The trailer swung sideways across 3 lanes. I barely had time to react. The truck slammed directly into the driver's side of my Jeep, going nearly 60 miles per hour. Metal screamed, glass exploded, the Jeep flipped. Once, twice. Then everything went silent. The last thing I remember was the seatbelt digging into my shoulder, the taste of blood in my mouth, and distant sirens getting closer. Then the world went dark. At the hospital, doctors said I had less than an hour to live without surgery. My pelvis was shattered. My spleen had ruptured. There was bleeding inside my skull. They needed parental permission to operate, so they called my mother. And the moment she answered that call would change everything. When the nurse connected the call, they put it on speaker so my mom could see me. Blood everywhere. Tubes already in my throat. Doctors rushing around trying to keep me alive. On the phone screen, my mother was lying in a spa chair. She had a green facial mask covering her face. Cucumber slices over her eyes. Soft spa music playing in the background. Next to her, my sister Haven was scrolling through her phone with earbuds in. The nurse spoke calmly. "Mrs. Reed, your daughter has been in a serious accident. She needs emergency surgery immediately." My mom pulled one cucumber slice off her eye and looked at the screen. Then she sighed. "If she doesn't make it, just call me later." The entire trauma room went silent. One doctor whispered under his breath, "Did she really just say that?" The nurse tried again. "Ma'am, without consent, she may die within the hour." My mom rolled her eyes. "We're in the middle of a treatment. I'm not leaving the spa to sign paperwork." Then she added something even worse. "Call my father. He'll deal with it." And she hung up. While I was fighting for my life, my sister took a screenshot of my face on the hospital bed. Later we discovered she sent it to her friends with the caption, "Finally some peace." But the hospital didn't stop. They called the next emergency contact, my grandfather. The moment he heard the words "critical condition," he dropped everything. He jumped into his truck and drove through a thunderstorm across Charleston. That drive normally takes 25 minutes. He made it in 16. He ran into the hospital soaked in rain, still wearing rubber fishing boots. Doctors pushed paperwork in front of him. He signed every form immediately. His hands were shaking so hard the pens scratched the paper. Before surgery, they let him see me for a moment. He leaned close to my ear and whispered the same words he used when I was little. "I've got you, baby girl." Then the operating room doors closed. He sat outside that room for 9 hours. Didn't move, didn't eat, didn't sleep. Just waited. For 18 days after that, I was in a coma, and Grandpa never left my side. He slept in a plastic chair beside my hospital bed, 30 minutes at a time. Every day he talked to me like I could hear him. He told stories about fishing trips, about the first bike ride my dad taught me, about the summer we caught a shark off the pier. On the 16th day, my vitals started improving. 2 days later, I opened my eyes. The first thing I saw was Grandpa's face. Red eyes, unshaven beard, the biggest smile I had ever seen. "Welcome back, baby girl," he whispered. At the foot of the bed was a whiteboard with patient information. Something had changed. Where it used to say, "Legal guardian, Harmony Read It," now said, "Legal guardian, Clarence Brooks." My grandfather had taken custody of me. The woman who walked away from me no longer had the right to call herself my parent. And the rest of my life would be built by the one person who never left. 5 years later, I'm 21. I work as a trauma counselor helping teenagers who think nobody will ever choose them. Because I know exactly what that feels like, but I also know something else. Family isn't defined by blood. Family is the person who stays. The one who sits beside your hospital bed. The one who signs the papers. The one who refuses to leave, even when everyone else already has. For me, that person was my grandfather, and he never let go of my hand. Not once.